guys. I remember me and Bobby, we're in the corner playing darts. And I look over and I see Virginia teaching Heather and her friends how to do a real shot. Because all they were doing is drinking these, you call them foo-foo drinks. Colored shot drinks in these fancy glasses. And Virginia, the school teacher, is giving them a final lesson at Ohio State. Teaching them how to drink screaming turkeys. And I remember looking at all these girls, including my wife, wondering, will they ever make it to graduation? But they did, and Virginia, as you left, you said, you better not miss that graduation. Your grandparents are coming from Ohio, and they want to see you there. So that next day, and we left like 2, 3 o'clock. That next day, man, Heather was hurting. It was 95 degrees, 65,000 people, 3.5-hour ceremony. And her grandparents never had a clue. And they were so proud, though. I have never seen my dad so proud. And I never knew that until that day, that 50 years earlier, he had graduated from Ohio State. And that's all he talked about for weeks, for months. So Heather, thank you. You were incredible with that. But probably my best memory, with Heather at least, is Sunday mornings. And Sunday mornings were the time, of course, to be with your family and to chill out and just spend time and no work. And I'd always like to put on some mellow music. And one of the albums I got to like and play every Sunday was a Jimmy Buffett album. And there was a song on there, not a popular song, but it was a song called Little Miss Magic. And it became our song. And every time I heard that song, I'd pick you up and I'd dance with you. And I'd sing the chorus. And basically it said something like, your mother's still the only other woman for me, Little Miss Magic, what you gonna be? Little Miss Magic, just can't wait to see. And I'd dance with Heather and we'd go through the whole house dancing. And I'd wonder, are you gonna be happy, healthy? Where are you gonna get married? Who will you marry? What will you do? Will you want to dance with your dad 25 years later? And now I look at her, and that smile kills you. In a good way. She's the kindest, most considerate person you'd ever meet. And I think you guys know that. But, my kids teach me a lot, each one of them. And the one thing I think Heather has that's going to really serve her well in her marriage is her passion, is that fight that she has. Believe it or not, that little petite, soft-spoken girl is a fighter like you've never seen, and you probably know that. Yep. One example, I think it was 7th or 8th grade volleyball, got cut by the team. She was devastated. I mean, it's silly to think about now, but at a little girl that age, she was so upset. Well, she played CYO, made the team the next year, and every year I watched you play. That's all I thought about. You never gave up. Heather, I love dearly, but she is the worst runner in the world. And for some reason, she decided to run a marathon. Why, I can never, she trained with you. And I remember that day, that last couple miles, all her friends crossed that finish line, but where was Heather? Her shins were hurting so bad, she walked that last 2 miles. 3, 2? 2. But there was no way on earth, through all that, she was going to give up. And that's just that fighting spirit that she has, that toughness. The last thing is Ohio State. And to make that quick, she didn't get in right at the beginning. She had to wait a quarter. And she was upset, but I was worse. I was really pissed. She had a good. She was a very good student, but student council president. But she didn't get in, and I was upset. And I told her, "Don't you dare go to that school. I'm ashamed of Ohio State." But she did go, and she graduated. She did so well. She got to go to Italy with her select group of kids from Ohio State School of Architecture. Graduated in 4 years, and now has a master's. So, you know, those are the things that when you guys are married, there's going to be tough times. And there'll be curveballs and potholes in the road. So, but I know that you guys will get through them. And J-Man, you have some of those same qualities. I mean, Justin, since we've known you, you're a considerate guy. You have that ability to be goofy, but then serious. You really do. You can relax, but you work very hard. You know when to turn it on, turn it off. But the thing that we like the most, of course, is how happy you make Heather. I've never seen her happier. I watch you guys talk. I see how you listen to each other. It's amazing. It really is. You guys can say so much without opening your mouth. You're so considerate and kind to each other. You know, I keep kidding them, do you guys ever fight? And they keep saying no. One night, finally, Justin had a few beers, and he looked at Heather, and he said, you know, Heather, that one time coming back to Cleveland, you kind of got mad at me. You didn't talk to me for 2 hours. You even swore. But these guys never fight. And I think that's just incredible. It just shows how suited they are for each other and that consideration they have for each other. Last couple things. Justin, I think you guys said it. Justin is the thing we always liked about him is his love for his family and friends. I mean, the first time Virginia met him, she called me and she was just raving about how you talked about your family. And we saw that as I saw that as I got to know you. But what really hit me when we went to Vermont, and he talked about his family, all the memories, his uncles, his aunts, his grandparents, his mom and dad, all his friends, and all the stuff they did. And it's just amazing when you look at those things and those qualities that you have, J-Man. Got to remember now what I was going to say. First time he met my grandparents, real quick, my grandparents were just so taken back by you, Justin. They raved about you constantly. But later, Carolyn told me a story how she knew you were just right for Heather. And what she said is that you saw Heather in my mom. And you looked at Heather and saw how, and pictured Heather looking like my mom 40, 50 years from now. And that's when Carolyn said, man, I knew that's the right guy for Heather because he's looking that far ahead and planning his life with you. The other speakers already talked a little bit about the engagement. It was the most incredible. It was an absolutely incredible day, and I gotta say, I felt like Steve Martin in the what was that movie? Love, Father of the Bride. Yes, and the way you did it, and because you wanted to do it in front of us, just like was said before, that meant so much to us. So in conclusion, back when the kids were small, I used to always, and they started driving. And the guys used to come over, and even the girlfriends started coming over for all three of them. I used to always go out and look them in the eyes and say, you guys, you got precious cargo riding with you. You best be careful. And I know I said that to Justin a few times. And I wanted to scare him. I wanted to know how precious Heather was to me, and Megan and Bobby. But you guys are precious cargo to each other. And I know as you go forward in your life and your new adventures, you will treat each other as that precious cargo you truly are to each other. So treasure every moment. We love you.
Yeah, you can make more noise than that. Give it up, John Scott. Yes.
I will. Hey, you guys need anything? I'll go with you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, before we serve the meal, there is one person who's going to come up and give a quick blessing. I'd like to